Before this video starts, I just want to say that I am going to leave a link in the description to a transcript of a lot of the comments that are read in this video, and I'll leave a link in the comment section too. Because, well, I talk really fast and I use a lot of idiosyncratic words in these videos, so it might be a little hard if you're not familiar with them. Like Tranley is tranny family, and a tranlet is a young tranny, and things like stratma, it's the mixture of a strat, so a strat is short for castrato, strat. Stratma would be a grandma who's not really a grandma, they're a strat, castrato, and grand martin is, they're not really your grandpa, it's a free martin who pretends to be your grandpa. I like these words because I think they're hilarious, and it gives us a sense of community, I think. And because it's not your grandpa, it's not your grandma. They're different, these trannies, the tears. So I'm not going to give them the words that, you know, they want us to be using. They're going to get called a strat and a martin. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Hans Wormhat, this is a video called Terrible Tranlies, and I'm just going to read some comments, and so some of these are from me, some of these are not from me, and I think it's just important to talk about this stuff, talk about the trannies in your life, talk about everyday trannies. This is just what I'm going to keep talking about, because it's the only important thing. Once you wake up to all the famous people, anyone with wealth or power are trannies, okay, you need to move on. This is much deeper than that. You can be dirt poor in a third world country and be surrounded by nothing but trannies. So here we go. I'm just going to read some comments, and yeah, this is just for people to relate. Just think back to your life. You'll know people just like this. And there might be a few people out there who don't have a tranny like mom and dad and tranny grandpa and grandpa, but for the most part, I don't believe you, right? And I guess, so if you can't relate to this, well, then this video is not for you, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so here's a comment, not my comment. Thoughts on rebellion. In this fake and gay tranny world, the freaks are bizarrely creepy close and buddy-buddy, unhealthily close to each other, while excluding normies in the tranly. The blatant favoritism of the golden tranlet and blatant contempt for the failed invert normie child is plain as day. Children are supposed to look up and admire their parents. They're supposed to want to make their parents proud and have healthy family bonds, but we don't live in a world like that. All of us hate our disgusting, annoying, obnoxious, satanic, lying families. And isn't it interesting that all Tranlies are the same? There are the obnoxious, grabby cat lady aunts who are disgustingly overweight, winos, and loud and can't keep their filthy claws off the children. There's always the creepy gay uncle. There's the nasty, weird, shifty cousins. There's the screechy, grabby, domineering grandmas and lying, apathetic, moo cow grandfathers that brag over the dumbest shit imaginable and are extremely rude to everyone they encounter. It never fails. All Tranlies tran alike, and they all have miserable little normies that got in here and there. We all hate our families and long for the rapture so we can ditch this hellhole and be with our real family. That's why normies sneak around and avoid our Tranlies and Terrence for even the most minor things. Even the pettiest, stupidest little dumb things that don't make sense don't exactly warrant sneaking over. We just end up having secrets. Maybe the way everyone else in the world keeps a million zillion secrets and lies nonstop, lies about their hats. Maybe that behavior rubbed off on us. And all of us normies have scenes missing in key parts of our lives. And so I'll add here, mostly, you know, when we're young, we have these just scenes missing from our memory. And weird, disjointed early childhood memories. We can remember settings and the colors and the smells, and everything goes dark. What happened? We shudder to find out. Jesus, get over here now and end this. Extremely please. All right, so here's a comment that I wrote. Compelling. Everyone has terrifying grandmas, quote-unquote grandmas, and aloof or cheery, soft, playful, doormat, quote-unquote grandpas. My strat grandma used to terrify me with his little dog that lived to be 30 or something crazy. Jesus casted out demons into pig. Surely some of these companion animals are possessed like their masters. Anyways, my strat granny used to sneak up on unsuspecting tranlets who were looking for a snack in my pantry and yell in that gravely Mae West tranny voice, "What are you looking for, Christmas?" and the poor Tranlet would slam the cupboard and run back upstairs without snacks. Well, neither of my parents ever kept food in the house, so I'm not sure what they were even expecting. My Strat X always wanted to visit her senile Rex grandpa in the old folks' home when we were in town. I never was close to any of my grandparents, but whenever people are, it always seems to be Rex grandpa and not the Stratma. Anyways, Stratma was a fat Strat wino judge and one of the most horrible people I've ever known. One of those obese trannies who have been everywhere and done everything, but they are insufferable and show no sign of having learned anything useful or interesting or that helped them better themselves, even though they've been to every country on earth besides a few. I could write a lot about that one. End of rant, but you can ask me to elaborate if you're interested. Okay, so just some more comments. So this is a response to that. My grandmartins are all extremely aloof, cold, distant, or unbelievably rude, cruel, mean, childish, and horrible. And one is a sick pedo. Of course I'm interested in what you have to say, so elaborate. Okay. Here's just more comments. Well, my grandmartins are of the same variety as yours, aloof and rude liars and probably pedos. Lots of Tranlets love their Grand Rex, though. It's probably just because the Strats are so over-the-top hellish. My less scary Strat Granny is just a super tiny Strat with set hair and now has bad shakes. Was always nice enough to my face, I guess, but I have 8 tranny cousins on that side, and my family is the black sheep part of the family, because my quote-unquote mom is bio-female, and of course there's me, so I would only ever see Grand Strat on the holidays. Not much of a relationship. I probably have spent much more one-on-one time with my ex-tranny's evil grand Strat than my own. And so here I'll just end this video with a comment that I just wrote right now. I'm going to elaborate. So here's my elaboration on. Everybody who knows anything about my channel knows that I dated one of these hidden transgenders for a large amount of time. And it's horrible to think back on, but whatever. These videos for me, they're really cathartic, and I know that they can wake people up to the trannies in their real life, because they'll know people just like this. So here's my elaboration on this evil Strat grandma. Okay, so Psycho Stratma of my ex-tranny. Obnoxiously loud, aggressive, domineering, loved to brag about how they went to night school while raising a family and became a judge. Okay, I wonder what you got to do at night school to become a judge. That's creepy. Okay, this person had visited every country in the world except a few. Honestly, probably less than 10 countries that this tranny hadn't been to. This person had no class. They were shameless, obese. They had really gross legs and feet that it was always showing off. For whatever reason, these trannies, they have the most disgusting legs and feet, but they wear like flip-flops and shorts every day. No culture whatsoever, just a fat MTF harpy demon who always said what was on their mind, and their mind was just rude and vain. They would go on these trips across the world with a bunch of other trannies, but only do the most basic touristy things. They would visit the pyramids, they'd get their name and their little Tranlet names written in fake hieroglyphics. These people are obese, so it's hard for them to really do anything off the beaten path to begin with. I went on a cruise with this person, and they signed us up for different excursions every single day. I had to convince Shim to take away some of the excursions so we had some free days. Anyways, bad tourist trap nonsense, fake ruins, and bad touristy food. In particular, I remember almost all the restaurants that we ate at in Italy. They had this little asterisk at the bottom of the menu, and it said, "Oh, this food's not actually cooked here. It's just reheated for you here." What's up with that? Just to give you an idea of the type of people these are, I remember hearing a story about a group that this Strat grandma, there was a group of these people on a cruise, and one of them, a free martin, had kidney stone problems. And on another note, I know an FTM that I grew up with that they're young, and they had kidney stone problems more than once. What's up with that? Why are free martins getting kidney stones so frequent? Anyways, this free martin, they were told by their doctor that they need to increase their water intake, they got to cut back on their alcohol consumption, and they got to watch out about eating too much food with a lot of fiber. Well, you know what this free martin did? All that they did was they just stopped eating broccoli. They were like, I'm not going to eat broccoli anymore. And to them, in their mind, that was fixing their issue. You know, they kept drinking a ton of wine. These people, they like don't drink any water. They're just drinking wine all day. So that's just how these trannies are. That's how they operate. Okay, so just one more story about this horrible MTF granny. We were eating at a restaurant one time, and this strat is the type of person to always make a fuss about the meal. Like no matter where you go, they're gonna make a fuss about something. And so this wasn't like a one-off thing, but this one story is just over the top. So they were complaining about their meal, which is totally normal, but they kept insisting that something was just off about it. Well, this restaurant was super nice, and I used to go to this restaurant I mean, it wasn't, these people at the restaurant were super nice. It was just, some restaurant, their food was okay. Uh, but the people that worked there were really nice. So she's complaining about the food. She is complaining about the food. And these people bring out their restaurant menu or their restaurant cookbook. Sorry. Like the people in the back, they had like a big white binder full of all their recipes, and they show the recipe to this horrible strat, and she goes through the recipe and she points them in. Oh, look, see, you have way too much time in this recipe. That's what's wrong with this. There's just way too much time in this recipe. And she is just making this huge big deal over it. It's so embarrassing. And they have no sense to tell that everybody's uncomfortable in this situation. Everybody just wants you to shut the heck up, but they just go on. And that's because that's how they act. That's how these tears act. And yep, that's it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you can relate. God bless everybody. And really quick before I go, no, I'm not just making these videos to talk a bunch of smack on trannies in my past. Although, sure, it feels good to be able to get this off my chest. I mean, these people put me through hell here on earth. So to expose their evil deeds, sure, it feels good. But again, like I said at the beginning, this is to wake people up to the trannies that are in your everyday life. Ye shall know them by their fruits. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 16 and 17. This is Jesus Christ speaking. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. This is how you know who these evil tares are, by their actions. God bless everyone.